Hello, I'm Inara Scott, and I'm the editor of Sustainable Capitalism, Essential Work for the Anthropocene. And I'm here with Dr. Ryan Katz-Rosene, and he has a wonderful chapter in the book about growth and the potential for growth and capitalism to remain in harmony. I won't spoil it. I'll let Dr. Katz-Rosene talk about what that might mean. So first of all, can you just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your chapter?
Sure. So I'm at the University of Ottawa, so I'm here in Canada, and I'm based at the School of Political Studies and affiliated to the School of Geography. And my PhD is in geography, and I've always been interested in ecological political economy. So looking at the intersection between political economic structures like capitalism and the environmental kind of side of things, the material questions around sustainability. And my chapter is about is asking this question: what would an ecologically sustainable variant of capitalism look like? Or more specifically, is that even possible? And that's what my chapter really tries to address.
Well, I have to say that your chapter is one that I really point students toward, really right away with the book, because I think it really lays out one of these central tensions around what is the theoretical versus what is the practical, what's the realistic, and what's really happening in our world. So I really recommend your chapter highly to folks. I understand that you write more about this. Do you have a book about this topic?
Sure. Well, thanks. Yeah, for the cue there to plug my book. But I just have a new book that just came out last week called The Growth Environment Debate. And it's really an introduction to this debate that we've been having over the last 50 years or longer on whether growth is ecologically sustainable. And that relates obviously to capitalism, because capitalism really is founded on this idea of profit and also growth. And capitalism doesn't do well when the economy is not growing and when the private sector isn't profiting. And so that's fundamentally a question and a debate that's been driving ecological political economy since at the very least, the early 1970s, when popular concern around the environment was really starting to gain hold, especially in the West.
So I think you started to answer this a little bit, but can you just tell us, why did you want to write this chapter, and why do you think it's important?
I saw it as a really fun opportunity. There's a lot of, from critical theory perspectives, a lot of kind of hand waving away of just like, oh, of course, capitalism is unsustainable, ecologically. There's no doubt. But at the same time, there's this mainstreaming belief that kind of unquestioningly assumes that capitalism is sustainable. It's one of the sustainable development goals from the UN is attempting to achieve green growth and this kind of ecologically sustainable variant of capitalism. And so my chapter really was, I approached it as this really fun opportunity to really dig into the nuances of like, what would a sustainable variant of capitalism actually look like? What kind of barriers need to be overcome in order for that to occur? And is it indeed possible?
Yeah. And so I'll let you leave us on a cliffhanger as to whether you think it is possible or not. Unless you want to spoil it, you're welcome to spoil it. But maybe that will just lead us into the next question, which is, what's the one thing that you would love for readers or students to take away after they read the chapter?
Sure. Well, maybe I will spoil it a little bit in the sense that I'll give away the broader argument, which is that it actually, I think there is a world where capitalism could be ecologically sustainable in theoretical terms. In theory, this is possible. But what I argue in the chapter is it's not very likely. And again, it hinges on this question of the profit-oriented and growth-oriented structure of capitalism. So there have been some economists that have actually looked at this idea of, can we actually achieve a form of capitalism that isn't so dependent on profit and growth? And that's a really interesting theoretical question that I didn't really tackle in my chapter. The chapter approaches it from the other point of view, which is, can we find a way for capitalism to structurally embed essentially waste and find a way to kind of regenerate waste back into production so that you're not, so that you can have a system of profit that doesn't add to the kind of material ecological degradation of our economy. So it's a bit of a theoretical deep dive, but it was a fun chapter to write. And I appreciate the opportunity to be involved in the book. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And again, I really highly recommend this chapter. Despite it being theoretical, I think it's very straightforward and accessible to just about any reader. So recommend everybody to read Dr. Katz-Rosene's chapter. And thank you so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Inara. And again, thanks for all your work on the editing of the book.
Great. Have a good afternoon.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye.